In this unit, we'll talk about varieties of New Zealand English. Varieties of New Zealand English are a result of both the ethnicity of the users of English and also geographical reasons. The two most distinguishable varieties of New Zealand English are Maori English and Southland dialect. Maoris are the indigenous people of New Zealand, just as Aborigines are the indigenous people of Australia. Maoris belong to the Polynesian group, and they came and settled in what is now called New Zealand between 800 to 1300. The Maori English is a result of the contact between the English-speaking settlers of New Zealand and the Maori people of New Zealand. We observe that in Maori English, the use of vernacular is more frequent. These vernacular features of New Zealand English include the use of high-rising terminal. High-rising terminal is the use of this rising pitch intonation in declarative sentences, in simple sentences. For example, the kind of pitch which is used in questions is used in declarative sentences. For example, are you late is a question, but in Maori English, a simple statement which is not a question, a declarative statement, would also use the same pitch. You are late is actually a declarative sentence which otherwise in any other English would be uttered as you are late. The other feature of Maori English is the merging of this air sound, which we see more frequently in Maori English, and then very frequent use of this tag in New Zealand English. So in New Zealand English, this tag is used very frequently, and it is used even more frequently in Maori English. The reasons for these variations which have led to this Maori variety of English are the contact of the English speaking with Maori language or the contact of English with Maori language, and also some social factors. So we see that this variation is an outcome of an intermix of social factors and Maori language. Then we have a variety in New Zealand which is called the Southland dialect. Southland dialect, it seems, is based on the geographical distance between the southern island of New Zealand and the other islands, but that is not the case. The dialect is a result more of the settlers in this island of New Zealand than the geographical distance between this southern island and the other islands of New Zealand. The dialect is because of the Scottish background of the settlers on this island. So one of the features of Southland dialect is the sound r, the rhotic r sound. But this use of r sound is now disappearing slowly from the Southland dialect. But it is strongly retained in sounds like nurse, curse, but in other sounds it is slowly disappearing. Perhaps the reason behind the use of this ra, rhotic r, in Southland dialect is that the rhotic pronunciation, non-rhotic pronunciation, was not the norm in the past. So when New Zealand was founded, the R-lessness was not the norm. And therefore, the settlers on this island even now show a preference towards using ra sound. Then the difference that is now taking place, for example, some people retaining ra sound and other people giving it up, is probably a change which is taking place in Southland dialect. So regionally, Southland dialect is non-rhotic, which means that they follow this R-lessness. It uses ra sound, but gradually it is following the practice of R-lessness, and perhaps this is a change which is taking place in New Zealand English, that even the Southland dialect is now giving up ra sound.